Before we get started, I wanted to let everybody know that I have a new book that is available on Kindle, and it is called Recommended Reading for the True Conservative. 50 pages long, and if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. Other than that, it's $3.99. So again, that is Recommended Reading for the True Conservative. And now, on with the podcast.
It's hard. I know. I feel the pressure too. Everyone in your face telling you to do more, lose more weight, be better. I get it. I get it. They show you the ads for the gym. You know, they always show you, try to get you to join up. They show you the before and after guy. I always like the before guy, frankly. Yeah, he looks a little chubby. He also looks like he has a box of donuts and a lot of friends. That after guy's got a weird look in his eye. Looks like he takes his shirt off when he shouldn't. They're always getting in our face. Yeah, well, other generations were skinnier. Yeah, well, their lives were miserable. Gandhi didn't look like Gandhi because he was killing it at Soul Cycle. He had a horrible life. He wore a diaper and ate butterflies for lunch.
Good morning. It's Thursday, Psycho Thursday, May the 21st, and this is The True Conservative. Welcome to all the butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers out there. I'm Ron, your host, and the only true conservative in the United States today. So today, after the Serenity Prayer and the patriotic song of the day, we'll have Varney and Company, motivation, meditation, and psychopathy. All that and more when I get back. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I should not change, the courage to change the things I should, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Thank you. Now, Varney and Company.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. Another stellar report from NVIDIA. They again beat all expectations. And as you heard from Jensen Huang with Maria, the company has a very bright outlook. The stock is flat this morning. It's actually down a couple of bucks at 221. Same story with the rest of the chip stocks, flat to slightly lower for all of them across the board. We have war news for you. Reuters reports that Iran's supreme leader says the enriched uranium must stay in Iran. That contradicts the president's demand that Iran cannot be allowed to build a nuclear bomb. Trump says he is in no hurry to make a deal. There are reports that Trump and Netanyahu held a tense phone call. The Israelis want to finish the job. Trump says Netanyahu will do as he is told by him. The price of oil back above $100 a barrel. Now you're at 101.19. Price of gas holding a little higher this morning. $4.56 a gallon is the average for regular. California, you're going to have to shell out $6.14 for a gallon. And diesel, that's now priced at $5.65 a gallon. Stocks mostly lower, pretty much across the board this morning. The Dow is off 130. The S&P is down 29, and the Nasdaq is down 174, 180 points. Bitcoin, 77,200. That's where we stand. But interest rates, we're coming in now with the 10-year at 4.61% and the 2-year still above 4%. You're looking at 409. No, 410 now, going up some more. On the show today, a new Fox poll shows the president losing ground on the economy. Now 71% do not approve of his performance. He's paying the political price for $4 gas. New details on SpaceX, which will be selling shares to the public next month. Musk has a grand vision. A base on the moon as a stepping stone to Mars, data centers in space orbit, and orbital manufacturing. As he runs it, and he's going to run it all. He's the majority majority shareholder, he appoints the board, he controls the vote. If he meets certain performance goals, he gets another 1.3 billion shares. He may well be on the way to being the first trillionaire. What will Bernie Sanders do? It is Thursday, May 21st, 2026.
And again, he misrepresents the statistics. It's not 71% of voters disapprove or whatever. It is 71% of those surveyed. He didn't even bother to tell us how many people have been surveyed. And the difference is psychological pressure. The way he did it, the way he approached it, the way he announced it is designed to put pressure on the voters and on the Trump administration. Shame on him for not knowing that. Nonprofit news now, back in a minute. Thank you. Many liberals operate on deeply ingrained patterns. They instinctively test our boundaries, push our emotional limits, and manipulate interactions because these are the strategies they've relied on for years. They don't always know why our calmness unsettles them, but they feel it. They sense the power, and it's unfamiliar. It's intimidating, and it introduces something they're not equipped to handle: our autonomy. Emotional detachment from their chaos also means we're no longer playing the emotional caretaker role. Liberals often expect others to manage their emotional states, to soothe them when they're upset, to validate them when they're insecure, and to praise them when they're needy. But when we stay calm, we're sending a different message. We're saying our emotions are our responsibility. That message cuts deep. It challenges the core dynamic that liberals build relationships around: the expectation of emotional servitude. Remaining calm also creates a mirror effect. In the quietness of our response, the liberal sees themselves more clearly. There's no reaction to hide behind, no emotional smoke to cloud the view, and what they see is often unsettling. They may become louder, more aggressive, or more erratic. This isn't because they're winning, it's because they're losing control. They're trying to provoke a reaction so they can regain the upper hand. But if we hold our ground, if we remain emotionally consistent, they run out of options. Their usual tools, blame, shame, intimidation, start to lose their edge. The moment we stop seeking a liberal's approval, their grip on us begins to dissolve. Liberals maintain control by conditioning others to constantly chase validation. They reward compliance with fleeting praise and punish independence with silence, criticism, or withdrawal. Every time this dynamic creates an emotional dependency where our self-worth becomes entangled with their reactions. They become the judge, the audience, the authority. But when we no longer seek their approval, when their opinion no longer defines our value, we disrupt that control mechanism. At its root, approval for the liberal is a tool. It's not given freely or as a reflection of our true worth. It's used strategically. They dangle it like a carrot, offering just enough to keep us engaged, to keep us hoping, to keep us tied to their opinion of us. This creates a cycle of emotional hunger. We start to shape our behavior around what they might praise, what they might accept. We minimize our needs, our voice, and the truth in order to preserve the connection. But the connection is conditional. It's not respect. It's leverage. And when we stop chasing it, when we decide that our worth doesn't come from them, we take back our autonomy. The shift doesn't happen all at once. It begins quietly, often internally. We start to notice that the praise we once craved now feels hollow. We start to see that their approval only comes when we abandon ourselves. And then, one day, something changes. We speak our mind without checking their reaction. We choose our peace over their praise. We realize that we're not afraid of their disapproval anymore. That moment may seem small on the outside, but internally, it's a psychological emancipation. We're breaking the bond that tethered our identity to their perception. Liberals are quick to sense when their approval no longer holds power. They test it immediately. They withdraw affection, they become cold, they criticize more harshly. This is not a coincidence, it's a strategy. They're trying to provoke fear, shame, or guilt in order to pull us back into the approval trap. But if we stay steady, if we choose truth over their favor, we begin to unravel their influence dependent on our need. Without that need, they are left with no mechanism of control. It's not that liberals want genuine connection. They want control, disguised as connection. When we seek their approval, we're handing them the script. We're letting them define our role, our lines, our emotional responses. But when we stop seeking it, when we choose self-connection instead, we stop playing the part. We write our own script. This doesn't just confuse them, it threatens them, because our independence reveals something they want to keep hidden, that they were never the source of our worth to begin with. They may retaliate with emotional withdrawal, criticism, or even smear campaigns. They will paint our newfound independence as selfishness, coldness, betrayal. But that's because they're losing their mirror. Liberals need others to reflect back a flattering version of themselves. If we're no longer seeking their approval, we're no longer playing that role. We're no longer protecting their fragile ego by sacrificing truth. And this threatens the entire foundation of their identity. This shift also impacts our own psychology in profound ways. When we stop seeking approval, we start listening to ourselves. We begin to hear our own voice more clearly. We make decisions based on our values, not their expectations. We begin to notice how much of our energy was spent managing their moods, deciphering their reactions, trying to earn a smile that never lasted. And we begin to realize that peace has always been an option. It just required letting go of the need to be seen by someone who never truly saw us. Stopping the pursuit of approval doesn't mean becoming emotionally detached or indifferent. It means recognizing manipulation for what it is. It means choosing authenticity over appeasement. Liberals are threatened by this choice because it reveals their dependency on others. If we no longer need them to feel worthy, they are no longer central. If they are no longer elevated, they are no longer powerful. And for someone who defines themselves by how much control they have over others, this is terrifying. You reclaim the power they once borrowed from your insecurity. You closed the loop they depended on to feel superior. When their validation becomes irrelevant to your sense of self, their tactics begin to lose effectiveness. Their disapproval no longer stings. Their silence no longer destabilizes. Their praise no longer intoxicates. What's left is their discomfort with your freedom, their fear of our clarity, and their frustration that the game they've played no longer works. You know, there's a strange and disturbing phenomenon that many people encounter but few dare to name. It's the liberal. That's not just some pop psychology buzzword. I'm talking about the genuine manipulator, the pathological liar. Back in a minute. Thank you now, Dr. Berg.
The number one best weight loss drug on the planet is not Ozempic. It's not Mounjaro. It's not the new one that everyone keeps talking about. It's something that can outperform all of them with zero side effects, zero muscle loss, and zero rebound weight gain. Of course, Big Pharma can't patent it, they can't sell it, and honestly, they don't want you to know it exists. Ozempic works by getting rid of your appetite. You just won't be hungry anymore. Obviously, you're going to eat less and lose weight, but it comes with a major package. You lose your muscle and you regain a lot of the fat back. You don't regain the muscle back. What I want to tell you is how to reactivate the fat-burning hormones in your body for free without a pill. No cost, no supplements. It's free. In fact, you'll save money on it because it is called fasting. Everyone can afford fasting because it costs nothing. I would recommend you start fasting for 18 hours. This is really not hard. Your first meal will be at 12 noon. The second meal will be at 6 o'clock. That will give you roughly about 18 hours of fasting. When you fast, your blood sugar goes down. Your insulin goes down. Your fat-burning hormones go up. Your body finally starts tapping into your fat reserves. What's really cool about this is you will lose your appetite. Why? Because your body is actually eating when you're not eating. It's eating its own fat. For more details on how to do fasting correctly.
And that was Dr. Berg. Back in a minute. Thank you. Now, motivation.
The darker the night, the brighter the morning. This too shall pass. You're going to get through this thing.
I want you to look in the mirror and I want you to tell yourself, I am a survivor. Listen to me and you can get through this. I want you to speak life into that thing. Whatever it is, what's frustrating you, like for real, you feel like I can't go through another day like this. I can't handle it. I can't take it. Listen to me very closely. Say it with me and breathe life into whatever that thing is. Whatever your circumstances are, say with me, I can. I can. I can get through this. I will. I will get through this. I must.
And that was a little motivation. Back in a minute. Thank you. Now a little meditation. And that was a little bit of meditation. Back in a minute. Thank you. Now a little bit of Law and Order.
Thanks for meeting me here. When I'm on trial, I live on Frankie's chili. Keeps the heart pumping.
You can trade it in for a steak.
I'm sorry, Jack. I can't take a deal. Especially now. I'm going to redirect Variety first thing tomorrow.
She was tired. She was overworked. She might have made a mistake.
Or maybe it wasn't a mistake at all. Look, Jack, if you were in my position, who would you believe? A white woman who's already lied once on the stand? Or a couple of centuries of history?
This isn't about history.
Okay, so he answered that wrong. According to the left in this country, and this guy, the defense attorney, that's the defense attorney that and Assistant District Attorney McCoy. But the defense attorney says that there is 200 years of history, but according to the liberals in this country, there is no history. History is fiction. History is nothing but political propaganda. Okay, so he wants to win this argument. He's got to go and use the left's ideas against them. So when he says, what would you rather believe, this white woman who's already lied on the stand or 200 years worth of history? You say there is no history. There's only 200 years worth of political propaganda. And that ends that one. And we go a little bit forward for a little bit more.
Now, Jack, that was a very self-serving rationalization, and you know it. To a large portion of this country, it is always about history.
So you're fine with an ex-kid who's unhappy with a cop on the corner and decides to get a gun?
Of course not. But maybe now that kid won't be condemned to live the life his father and grandfather were forced to accept.
It's not going to end, is it?
There you go. It's not going to end, is it? That's the wrong thing to say in this particular case. What he should have said was, you're not going to let it end, are you? Okay, because that's the truth. This ended after the end of the Civil War and the enactment of the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments and the Civil Rights Act of 1965. Back in a minute. Thank you. And now, Psychopathy.
Machiavelli understood something fundamental about human nature that most people overlook. Silence is the ultimate weapon in the arsenal of power. Throughout history, the greatest strategists were not those who spoke the loudest, but those who knew exactly when to say nothing. The leader who reveals his thoughts becomes predictable. The general who announces his strategy invites defeat. The negotiator who cannot hold his tongue loses before the battle begins. In a world obsessed with noise, with constant communication, with the need to be heard, we have forgotten the ancient wisdom that true power often lies in what remains unsaid. Machiavelli, in his political writings, observed that men judge more by the eye than by the hand, because everyone can see, but few can feel. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. This principle applies perfectly to the strategic use of silence. Those who master it create an aura of mystery, of unpredictability that keeps others constantly guessing. Silence is not the absence of power, but its most refined expression. It is not weakness, but calculated strength. Most people cannot tolerate silence. It creates discomfort, tension, a void that they feel compelled to fill with words, with explanations, with justifications. In their desperate attempt to break the silence, they reveal everything, their fears, their desires, their strategies, their weaknesses, while the master of silence simply observes, collecting information, gathering intelligence, learning exactly where to strike when the moment comes. In his famous work, The Prince, written as advice for rulers and powerful figures, Machiavelli advised those in positions of power to speak rarely about anything that mattered, because every word can become a liability, every statement a future trap. Those who talk too much give others the rope with which to hang them. Politically, socially, strategically, the art of silence gives you time to think, while forcing others to speak without thought. In the Discourses on Livy, Machiavelli notes that the wise leader allows others to come to him with their thoughts, rather than freely offering his own. This is the essence of strategic silence. It is not merely staying quiet, but creating a vacuum that others rush to fill with information you can later use against them. Modern leaders have forgotten this simple truth, bombarding the world with tweets, with statements, with endless commentary. They reveal their hand before the game even begins, while those who truly understand power speak only when it serves a specific purpose, when it advances their position, when it misleads their opponents, or when the silence has done its work. Machiavelli writes that a powerful person must learn to be a great pretender and dissembler. Applied to communication, this means understanding that not every thought deserves expression, not every opinion needs to be voiced, not every emotion requires acknowledgement. Those who speak without purpose, without strategy, without calculation are like soldiers charging blindly into battle. They may occasionally win through luck, but they will eventually be outmaneuvered by those who wait, observe, and strike only when victory is assured. Silence creates mystique, and humans are naturally drawn to what they cannot fully understand. When someone remains quiet in a discussion, others automatically assume depth. They project wisdom, authority, control onto the silent figure, while simultaneously revealing their own insecurities through nervous chatter. This psychological mechanism gives the silent strategist an immediate advantage before a single word is spoken. Machiavelli understood that information asymmetry is the foundation of power. The one who knows more than they reveal always maintains the upper hand, while those who reveal more than they know surrender their advantage without realizing it. In any negotiation, in any conflict, in any relationship, the party with greater information control holds the power to dictate terms. This is why silence is not just tactically useful, but strategically essential. Silence also creates timing advantage. The person who speaks first often commits to a position that limits their options, while the one who waits can adapt their response to changing circumstances, can observe weaknesses, can identify the optimal moment to act or speak. Machiavelli advised that nothing wastes so much as haste, and this applies doubly to communication. Hasty words reveal intention, expose strategy, and eliminate the element of surprise. Consider how many have destroyed themselves with impulsive statements, with emotional outbursts, with unnecessary revelations that could have been avoided through disciplined silence. In The Art of War, Machiavelli emphasizes that no enterprise is more likely to succeed than one concealed from the enemy until it is ripe for execution. The same principle applies to communication. The thoughts you keep concealed are weapons that remain sharp. The plans you keep private are surprises waiting to be unleashed. The intentions you mask are advantages your opponent cannot counter. Silence is not merely the absence of speech, but the presence of power carefully cultivated. True masters of silence understand that it serves multiple functions simultaneously. It protects information. It creates mystery. It forces others to reveal themselves. It builds anticipation. It maintains flexibility. It demonstrates control. And it establishes dominance, all without a single word being spoken. There is a reason why in ancient courts and power centers, the one who spoke least was often feared most. Silence communicates strength in a way that words rarely can. Anyone can talk, but few can command attention through their mere presence, through the anticipation of their words, through the weight of their silence. The modern world has forgotten this ancient wisdom. In an age of social media, of constant updates, of incessant noise, the person who masters silence immediately stands apart, mysterious, powerful, in control. While others exhaust themselves with endless chatter, the silent observer watches, plans, calculates, and waits. Machiavelli notes that people in general judge more by the eyes than by the hands, because everyone can see but few can touch. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Silence allows you to control what others see, to project strength while concealing weakness, to appear resolute while maintaining flexibility. Every word spoken narrows possibilities, creates commitment, establishes expectations. But silence keeps all doors open, all options available, all strategies viable. Look at how the masses behave in any conversation, in any meeting, in any negotiation. Most people cannot bear even a moment of silence. They rush to fill it with words, with noise, with anything to escape the discomfort that silence creates for them. But the strategist, the Machiavellian thinker, values this discomfort, creates it intentionally, knowing that human nature will compel others to speak, to reveal, to expose themselves, while the silent one gathers intelligence. In his writings, Machiavelli observes that the most successful leaders were those who knew how to use the appearances of virtue while acting according to necessity. Silence facilitates this dual approach, allowing one to appear agreeable while inwardly planning according to their true interests. Those who cannot control their words cannot control their destiny. They become predictable, manipulable, transparent, while those who speak only with purpose, only with strategy, only when silence has served its function, maintain control over both the narrative and the outcome. Silence is not merely a defensive tactic, it is an offensive weapon. It is not just about protecting your own thoughts, but about using the discomfort of silence to extract the thoughts of others. The skilled practitioner of silence asks a question, then waits, not rushing to fill the void, but allowing the tension to build until the other person feels compelled to elaborate, to justify, to reveal far more than they initially intended. This technique has been used by the greatest interrogators, negotiators, and leaders throughout history, all understanding intuitively what Machiavelli formalized centuries ago, the power of strategic silence. There is another dimension to this practice that Machiavelli understood implicitly. Silence conveys authority. Those who speak only when necessary, who choose their words with care, who allow silence to emphasize their statements, are perceived as commanding, as authoritative, as deserving of attention. In contrast, those who speak constantly without restraint, who fill every moment with noise, quickly find their words losing value, becoming background noise, easily ignored and dismissed. Machiavelli advised powerful figures to speak rarely, but when they did, to ensure their words carried weight. This principle applies equally to modern power dynamics, where attention has become the scarcest resource in a culture drowning in information. Silence also creates the space for observation, for study, for understanding one's opponents. Machiavelli emphasized that anyone seeking influence must be a great student of human nature, must understand the motivations, weaknesses, and desires of those around them. Silence facilitates this study. When you are speaking, you cannot be listening. When you are talking, you cannot be observing. But when you are silent, your senses are fully engaged, collecting the data that will later prove decisive. Most people never develop this skill. They are too focused on being heard, on proving their intelligence, on demonstrating their worth through constant verbalization, never realizing that with every unnecessary word they diminish their power while revealing their insecurities. Machiavelli notes that everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. This gap between appearance and reality is widened through the strategic use of silence, which creates space for others to project their assumptions onto you, while you maintain the freedom to act according to your true intentions. The silent individual becomes a mirror, reflecting back the hopes, fears, and expectations of others, while revealing nothing of themselves. This is the essence of Machiavellian power dynamics: control over information, asymmetry of knowledge, manipulation through selective revelation. There is a rhythm to power, a timing that Machiavelli understood intuitively. Knowing when to speak and when to remain silent is not merely about self-control, but about controlling the entire dynamic of interaction, the flow of information, the balance of power, the momentum of events. Those who master this rhythm, who understand when silence serves them better than speech, who recognize the precise moment when words will have maximum impact, possess an advantage that transcends mere tactical consideration. It becomes strategic dominance. Machiavelli warned that nothing is more difficult to handle, more doubtful of success, nor more dangerous to manage than to put oneself at the head of introducing new orders. This applies equally to communication. The first to speak, the first to commit, the first to reveal, sets themselves up as a target, while those who wait, who observe, who maintain their silence, gain the advantage of response, of adaptation, of calculated counter. The mind that speaks without restraint is like an open book, easily read, easily predicted, easily manipulated, while the mind that reveals itself selectively, strategically, intentionally, remains a mystery, a puzzle that others cannot solve. Silence is patience made visible. It is discipline externalized. It is strategy embodied. Those who cannot remain silent, who feel compelled to speak, to react, to respond, immediately demonstrate a fundamental weakness, a lack of self-mastery that Machiavelli would have recognized immediately as fatal to any serious ambition. Power requires patience, and patience often manifests as silence. Even in negotiation, where words seem essential, silence often proves more effective than speech. The side that can tolerate silence, that can wait, that does not rush to fill the void with concessions, with compromise, with revealing statements, nearly always gains the upper hand. This is why experienced negotiators train themselves to embrace silence, to use it as a tool to force the other side to speak first, to offer more, to reveal their bottom line. Machiavelli understood that in politics, in war, in life, the appearance of strength often matters more than strength itself. Silence projects strength in a way that words rarely can. It communicates confidence, control, calculation, while excessive speech often betrays insecurity, anxiety, desperation. The true Machiavellian understands this intuitively, speaks only when speech serves a specific strategic purpose, and allows silence to do the heavier work of establishing dominance. In a world of noise, the silent figure commands attention. In a room of speakers, the silent observer holds power. In a culture of constant communication, the disciplined practitioner of strategic silence wins every time. And now, after everything we've discussed, ask yourself honestly, do you speak too much?
And that was Psychopathy. Back in a minute. Thank you. This is Ron, your host, the only true conservative in the United States today, bidding adios to all the butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers out there, and reminding you that you're not neutral and that the government has no rights.